How's it going, everybody? We are muck diving again, and we're muck diving at night. And we have encountered a dwarf lionfish, which you can see here. And the dwarf lionfish seems to be stuck to some kind of ball of algae. Now, it's looking to its right in a somewhat confused way. And what kind of algae ball is that? It's a crab. This is a hairy crab. What an unusual encounter. So this is the kind of stuff we love to see when we're muck diving. That these unusual interactions between animals and animals which are just so weird that you couldn't think that up. So this crab, which I believe is some kind of elbow crab, was next to this dwarf lionfish. The dwarf lionfish in itself is a really interesting animal. It's a relative of the Pterois volitans, this large lionfish, which are invasive species in the Caribbean. This is a different species. It's also venomous. The dorsal fin spine of this fish are also venomous. So, but what was really interesting was this crab. Now, it moved away from the lionfish after a while. What a weird animal. So, the camouflage of this crustacean is just extreme. Now, there will be skin flaps which give it a algae ball-like appearance, but then it's also actually overgrown with algae. And if that animal doesn't move, you have no chance of seeing it. And actually, even if it moves, you need to have the keen eye of a muck diver, and you need to look for stuff like that. So here, obviously, you can see its claws, its feet. It's moving along, and you can also see the eyes. So there are these small red dots. These are the eyes. So here it's picking up a leaf of dead seaweed. I believe most of these crabs are herbivores or omnivores. So what has happened here in evolution? These animals have evolved not to optimally run or swim. Their body shape is not optimized to ideally deal with the physics of its environment. No, this animal has evolved to ideally trick the visual systems of the other animals in its habitat. So we are in, as I've mentioned, in this muck diving site. There's really nothing around the crab. This is sand. So if you are a conventional crab, conventionally looking crab, fish will know what to look for, and then these fish will end up eating you. So looking like the environment is of great importance for these crabs. It really takes a excellent macro setup. So this is my Olympus, so now it's OM Systems TG6, to focus on the claws and on the mouth, the jaws, the mouth apparatus of this crustacean, to be able to appreciate what we are looking at here, which is a crustacean. So what an amazing encounter here. Here it's moving again, and if you look on its left, there are some small crustaceans which got stuck in all of that crab hair. So, the body parts of the crab, algae, and, parts of the environment all stuck on this crab. There are other hairy animals, and hair here is not like in mammals on land to insulate you, but this is a sea hare, and I believe this is a sea hare of the genus Ursatella, and these sea hares, they have also evolved to look like balls of algae. So this is in the middle of a seagrass field. This is not very deep. This is only 3 or 4 meters deep at night. This is a large animal, so it's probably like 2 human fists next to each other, probably good 25 centimeters long. And this animal nevertheless can really rely on its camouflage. There's actually a piece of seaweed right in front of it, which really looks like all these tassels it has evolved on. Now we have something else here, and this was also a really interesting encounter. So this is a individual of pleurobranch brocchi, I believe. So this is a pleurobranch. So what scuba divers really love and underwater photographers seek out are these nudibranchs, which is one specific type of slug, right, of gastropod mollusks. So this is not a nudibranch, it's a related type of gastropod. And it's very unusual in the way that it's really only coming out at night. If you want to see sea slugs, generally the night is the time for you. And it's unusually fast, so it's racing along here. A lot of these nudibranchs are often not even moving at all. So you would see them next to the tunicates or the sponge they're feeding on, and you can observe them for 10 minutes and they barely move from that spot. Whereas this animal was essentially racing over the sand. So in the minute or so where I filmed it, I'm sure it covered a couple of meters. So what is the reason for this fast moving behavior? I don't know. Interestingly, I had only seen that once before in Bali. And then I saw it on Negros Island in the Philippines, and this is that footage, and I actually saw the same species again a couple of days later. So if you want to see rare pleurobranch, now is the time, and the place is Negros Island. It is unavoidable if you are night diving that you are disturbing animals to some degree. And I'm not happy about that, but I do think that this is a type of disturbance which they will get over with. So what this pleurobranch did, it after a while, it simply had about a minute and a half, it simply had enough of my video light, and it started to dig itself into the sand and try to get away from me. So whether it realized that it was being followed or whether there is simply a reflex against light, I don't know. Now our crustaceans do the same thing. So this is some type of rock shrimp which decided to dig itself in, and most of its body was under the sand and then came back out. What an unusual animal. Again, very interesting hair-like appendages on the first pair of legs. So these might be there for collecting plankton. Now we have soles, and the interesting thing about these soles is that they were covered in the tiny crustaceans which are everywhere these days during night dives in the Dumaguete area in the Philippines. So the sole was just laying there, and these, I believe, amphipods were all over it. Now, another very interesting animal which I saw lately at night underwater is this cowfish. So this is a relative of the pufferfish and the triggerfish, same type of jaw, similar dentation. What a beautiful fish, very unusual. These horns, hence the name cowfish. And this is a rather approachable fish. And I hope you enjoyed this, and see you again soon.